What is going on, Bears fans? I hope you're having a great day. My name is Bleeves. We're here to talk about the Chicago Bears and something that I think is probably going to need to be talked about. What are the odds that Austin Booker could be the Chicago Bears 2024 sack leader? Now, that sounds preposterous and crazy to think that a rookie coming into the league with not a lot of experience could lead a team, especially a team that has TJ Edwards, Tremaine Edmonds, Montez Sweat, that this could be the guy that would lead this team in sacks. But is it as preposterous as it seems on the surface? And the answer to that is really going to depend on the number of plays that Austin Booker gets in. Now, if you like this type of content, make sure that you hit the like button on the way in, and let's try to break this down as best I could. Now, an article came out from Bradley Locker at Pro Football Focus over the last 24 hours that really kind of breaks down what Austin Booker has looked like so far, and that he's trying to make an impact in his first year. Now, this is a statement that came out from Austin Booker. He says, "I got picked behind a bunch of dudes that I know I'm better than, and that motivates me. No face, no numbers. I don't care. I line up and just play." And what that basically means is he doesn't care who it is that he's going against. He doesn't care who his opposition, whatever tackle they put against him, he doesn't care. It doesn't matter. What matters is he's looking to beat whoever it is that's trying to block him. Now, will he be able to do that? Well, the answer is to be decided. Now, if we look at it from this context, and by the way, when he checked in at Kansas, he was 6'4", 240 pounds. He's now 6'6", 245. So the kid has grown even more since he got into college. I want to say 2 years ago. And listen, here's what he ended up with. He ended up with 94 total snaps in preseason. By the way, we're going to get into how many that we're going to project a little bit on this. And he got in for 94 total snaps, had 9 pressures. That's about a 10% rate of pressure for every snap. That is a fantastic number for an NFL player, and 2.5 sacks across that entire breadth. And what did he end up with in Pro Football Focus? Well, in Pro Football Focus, he was the 4th best rookie player in the preseason. Now, that is based on overall defensive grade, coming in at 79.7. If you notice, the only area that it looked like he needed a little bit of work on was that rush defense. Now, that presents itself as a potential opportunity right there for him to grow, and I think that over time he's going to end up growing. But on obvious passing downs and in a rate where the NFL plays about 50-50 run to pass, then I think that there's going to be a rotation here for Austin Booker to continue to get pressure. So we're going to break that down, and we're going to keep going with this and try to figure it out. But rushing defense, not that great. Tackling was a pretty decent grade. Coverage, definitely a decent grade. Now remember, Tremont Morris-Brash had an outstanding preseason and kind of showed out a little bit early on. So we're just kind of looking at edge defenders here right now. And, you get an interception or something like that in the preseason, makes your stats look a whole lot better. But the most impressive part is that Booker looked at ease, having only 505 career collegiate snaps. This guy's only played 505 snaps in college. 482 came in one season in Kansas. So with that, we can say that over the course of 12 games with Kansas, he had 482 snaps. So he was out there for about 40 snaps per game. Now in the NFL, that's not going to happen. He's not going to be out there for that many. But let's just take for granted that 94, if we're using this as an average, let's just say that 94 snaps, it took him to get 2.5 sacks. Well, that would mean that he's going to play, and we have to do some averaging here. And there are some statistics that we can go to that can give us kind of an idea. First of all, how many snaps a game is he going to do? And the Bears last season had an average of 64 offensive plays per game. Now, that means that the defense probably it's 50-50. It's basically about a 50-50 game. And the rest of them are going to average somewhere in the neighborhood of about 65 plays, roughly. You can go down here all the way to the bottom. Seattle averaged 58. So there's going to be moments where they slow down the pace of the game. But let's just say an average of about 65 plays per game, just to be on the safe side, with 50% of the plays being passing plays. That means that there is an opportunity for him to show up on 30 plays per game if he were to be in that rotation, and he will be successful in that rotation and considered one of those number one guys or number two guys. So he'll be part of the rotation. Will he get in for 30 plays? Let's just say he gets in for 20 plays. 20 plays represents around, let's call it 25% of what he did in the preseason. So, I mean, it's really pretty simple here. 2.5 times 0.25 means he's going to average 0.625 per game. And that's going to be over, if he stays healthy, 17 games, meaning that he could have 10.5 sacks on this team. Again, with just a limited amount, and assuming that he is what we think he is, assuming that Austin Booker is this guy, that he can make these plays, that he can rush the quarterback and he can get 2.5 sacks for every 100 plays. If he's playing, roughly 25 plays per game, and he's got that much time, then we're talking about 10 sacks, 10.5 sacks. So the question is, will Montez Sweat have more sacks per game? And if we look at the ratio, and by the way, his ratio is favorable with Montez Sweat. So Montez Sweat being the starter, it creates an opportunity for Montez Sweat. Look, Montez Sweat could have 13, 14, 15 sacks. We could be looking at a monster outlier season. But the question that we're asking today is, can Austin Booker be the Chicago Bears 2024 sack leader? Now, we're talking about some simplified numbers saying that he's going to be in this, he's going to be doing what he was doing in the preseason, in the regular season. And look, if he's a number two, he's taking on number twos. If he's a number three, he's taking on number threes. I will grant you that, but he was heavily in the rotation, so he took a lot of reps against number one tackles. If you go back to that Buffalo game, he was going against their number one guy. If you go back and you look at a lot of these, he's going against number one guys, and he's getting penetration, and he is shocking some of these offensive tackles right out of the gate. So let's just assume he can continue at that level. Then we're talking about 10.6 sacks. That could be good enough on the Chicago Bears. Chicago Bears sacks in 2023. Oops. Now remember, Chicago Bears were last in sacks. They were last in sacks in the 2023 season. So, if we break this down and we see who was the sack leader on the team, that was Montez Sweat in 9 games with 6 sacks. So what does that mean? Well, Montez Sweat would come in with 17 games with about 11 sacks. That puts him on par, or puts it on par with what we're talking about from Austin Booker. I hope this, and look, I'm trying to simplify it mathematically here to say that is what the potential indicates. Now, if we look at the upgrade from Gervon Dexter to Justin Jones, assuming that is an upgrade, and we look at the rest of this, in 17 games, DeMarcus Walker had 3.5 sacks. Yannick Ngakoue in 13 games had 4 sacks. We're kind of replacing that edge rushing capability with Austin Booker in this context. So if that's the case, then again, 6 sacks turns into 11 sacks over the course of a season. Austin Booker can realistically be the leader of this team in sacks. And I'm pie in the skying this. I am a moon boy when it comes down to it. So looking at the statistics, looking at the amount of time that we're going with here, and just again, considering over 9 games, Montez had 6 sacks. So over 17 games, he should have 11 sacks. That would mean that Austin Booker at 10.6, that's very close. There is a real and distinct possibility that Austin Booker could, out of nowhere, just really explode. Now, and here's the thing. What if Austin Booker, an unknown commodity, just comes out of the gate firing on all cylinders, right? And ends up with 3, 4, 5, 6 sacks in like the first 3 games. Does that mean he's going to get more playing time? Not necessarily. Doesn't mean he's going to get more playing time, but it will mean that he's going to be ahead of this little curve right here. And then, of course, how good, and this is a bigger question that I think everybody's going to be wondering about, how good will Gervon Dexter be next to Montez Sweat? That's going to be the biggest question. Will those two guys be a nightmare on the left side of the line? And will that right side of the line just be a forgotten piece when you start getting that pass rush coming at you? So there is an entire possibility. And well, you know what? You're right, but I'm saying that I'm moonboying this. I'm saying that, Montez Sweat, probably 11 sacks, could be more if he's, I mean, look, it takes a lot in the NFL, but we have those magical moments, right? So just assuming that we're going to have at least 11 sacks out of him, and then we come back down and we look at the number of plays that Austin Booker will have, and we just say that he's going to have 25 plays a game, then the numbers add up to 10.5 sacks. That is close enough. That is close enough. Well, here's the thing. The question for Austin Booker, I think, is about size and about his durability and about staying healthy and about learning. And I think that they're going to I don't think that they're going to have him in the rotation. I don't think that they're going to keep him in the rotation and give him more and more and more playing time. I think they're going to be look, the one thing that you guys should have at least recognized by this point out of Matt Eberflus is that Matt Eberflus is a conservative coach. He does not go all in on specific people. He likes to groom them and let them grow into the system. When he thinks the team is, when he thinks he's grown, he's got plenty of time to keep working with Austin Booker. And look, there is a possibility, and I'm going to say it now, there is a possibility of a Super Bowl type run with the 2024 Chicago Bears. But it is very, very complicated to get to that space. Okay. I said before, 13-4, and that's my moon boy pie in the sky. I think the Chicago Bears are going to go absolutely bonkers and have this fantastic run, right? That's my I'm going to stick with that until there's no reason to continue to stick with that. Now, when you look at the projections, 8.5 is what Vegas is giving. And 8.5, look, guys, Vegas is pretty accurate, right? I'm pretty crazy about it. They're pretty accurate and they usually get it right. Now, I can go back and I can start looking through a lot of statistics and how accurate Vegas is in their predictions. And look, at the end of it, they're pretty accurate. There's always some outliers. And what they don't account for those outlier scenarios. What if Caleb Williams is good as advertised? What if Austin Booker just kind of takes over at defensive end? What if this team is drastically improved on both sides of the line, as Ryan Poles thinks they currently are? What if all of those things come together? And then what if they coalesce into a team with a lot more positive sack pressure or I'm sorry, blitz pressure coming into this? Remember, we didn't see too much blitzing coming out of this team. They were the lowest ratioed blitz team in the league last season as well. Matt Eberflus preferring the conservative approach of trying to let 4 guys get that rush going. And guess what? In this preseason, after conversation with Eric Washington, after going over with Eric Washington, after getting comfortable with this, they started calling a lot of blitzes. Now, what we just saw was an aggressive Chicago Bears defense. So again, this aggressive Chicago Bears defense changes the dynamic of this team dramatically. And if that is the case, and that really is the case, then what we're looking at is just a fantastic opportunity for Austin Booker to have that magical type season. Okay. So let's just keep that in mind. Moving on here. When he was asked about college versus the pros, here's what Austin Booker said. He said, there's not a huge difference. It's just the speed increase, and that's about it. They're all doing the same moves, and the same stuff I was doing in college is still working. They just have faster and stronger hands. So you got to work hands more than just one move sometime. That's kind of the biggest thing I've changed. Just not thinking. Part of that is knowing your assignment and knowing what you've got to do, just going out there and playing at full speed. What was also any bursting young edge rusher is playing alongside a proven star, which is Montez Sweat, of course, who amassed 37 pressures and 6 sacks in only 9 games after getting traded to Chicago last season. So if we have this bookend, then guess what? There's going to be a race to the quarterback. And I think that Austin Booker is equipped at this point to be that guy. Now, could he be 245 pounds? Could he be just a little bit light for this? And could he be prone to injury? That's the question that we don't have answered yet. And it's going to take playing in games to try to figure it out. So here's the thing. Practices against Chicago's high-flying offense with Caleb Williams, Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, Rome Odunze, and DeAndre Swift are almost always at a relentless pace for the Bears defenders, offering very little room for error. Booker believes he's already grown by opposing Williams on a daily basis. He says this: be ready for them to throw it at any time. I was super close to getting a sack, and he got out of it because he's a great player, getting them hands up, even if you can't get to the quarterback. So he's understanding the principles of what he needs to do. Now, does he apply that when he gets onto the field? So maybe we'll see that, but we don't know yet. Still a work in progress. On top of having a hyper-fast release, Caleb Williams is known to dance around in the pocket, sometimes turning seconds of holding the ball into a scramble. Booker has tuned his ears to more improvisational style of quarterbacking, prioritizing his rush lane discipline. These are the things that we want to hear off of somebody that is trying to learn this system. And this is NFL level stuff that he seems to be getting right now. That's a big thing that we've been talking about in the defensive line room, just knowing that when you're to the nose guard and not that 3 tech, you have a bigger B gap. You need to not rush as deep and counter sooner. So just little things like that I've been working on. Given his rawness, it wasn't a major surprise to see Booker listed as the Bears' third-string edge rusher behind Khalid Kareem, Dominique Robinson, DeMarcus Walker, and Jacob Martin. However, Austin Booker is not concerned about his formal listing. I just don't focus on that, honestly. I feel like I've shown what I need to do. I'm going to keep doing that. Wherever I end up is wherever I end up. Now, this is where I get into concern. Is there a possibility that he gets this, that he becomes the sack leader? Well, does he have enough in him to surpass Khalid Kareem? Of course. Dominic Robinson? Obviously. DeMarcus Walker? I don't know. Jacob Martin? Yeah, probably. So after DeMarcus Walker, then that's where it gets kind of interesting. And here's the other part to it. Remember, DeMarcus Walker is a big-time run stopper. So the idea here for DeMarcus Walker is DeMarcus Walker on obvious pass plays moves inside because he still has a pass rush. And who doesn't have a pass rush? Andrew Billings. So, and by the way, we do have data on that. Andrew Billings' number of sacks last year in 17 games, 0. Okay, so here's what we have to consider. Andrew Billings is a great run stopper, but does not get to the quarterback. DeMarcus Walker is a great run stopper who also gets to the quarterback, with him having 3.5 sacks. Now, obviously, we want more sacks, but he was playing an edge position. So the question is, do you drop DeMarcus Walker on obvious pass plays to the inside and give Austin Booker the lane to run on the outside? And if that's going to be the case, then we're going to be a strong run-stopping team with an eye of getting after that quarterback. And look, Austin Booker's superior speed, Montez Sweat's superior speed, gives us an inside track on getting to these guys on these obvious passing downs. And Austin Booker, because there's no Booker written, if you will, on how to play him yet, he's going to have an opportunity to start off very, very strong. Okay. And Crimson says the fact that Dominic Robinson is still on the team is concerning. You know what? I agree. I mean, Dominic Robinson had a half a sack in 11 games. Like, the guy is not a rusher. By the way, nor is Zach Pickens, who's injured, but will be in the lineup. So, you know, there are some issues and concerns with the everyday starters about their ability to get off on the pass rush. So bringing in Austin Booker gives us a changed dynamic on this team immediately. So can he get there? I sure hope so. I sure hope that he ends up being that person. But let's move on now. Because the important part here is, and by the way, I do want to stress here, remember, we're talking about a 6'6", 240 as a rookie or a freshman. This was his statistics, 6'4.5". So he grew 1.5 inches. I said 2 inches before, 1.5 inches, whatever, it's 2 inches, and added 5 pounds of muscle to his frame in that short period of time. I mean, he was a sophomore that we picked up. So in a short period of time, he grew quite a bit and added a little bit of depth and strength to his game. So Jalen Johnson says he is done buying into the hype around the 2024 season, and he said that none of it matters. Johnson has heard all of the offseason hype surrounding Caleb Williams and the club. He's heard how #1 overall pick Caleb Williams, surrounded by upgraded weaponry, should finally usher in a new era. He's heard that Matt Eberflus' defense surged down the stretch. He's heard it all, and he says, I'm done buying into the hype. I feel like I've said it before plenty of times. I've had some pretty good rosters and plenty of talented people in the locker room where it's, oh yeah, this is our year. This is our year. Everything that we've got in the locker room sounds good. It seems good, but none of that matters. What matters is what we're going to do this weekend. And from every Sunday or Monday, whatever game it is, that's when it matters. The preseason hype doesn't move me. We've all got to come in here and we've got to work just top to bottom. And here's the thing. This is the guy that we said he took a discount. He took a home team discount to stay on this team just to see what's going to happen. When he hits free agency, he will be in his prime, ready to play at a high level still on his next contract, which will be a max contract. Whatever the max contract for a cornerback is going to be, that's what he's going to end up getting. But for the next 4 years, we've got Jalen Johnson working on the corner here. And if this is his attitude, then the future is very bright. He's going to motivate Tyreek Stevenson. He's going to motivate the safeties. He's going to motivate everybody around him to be better, to be focused, to be in gear, and be ready to play at all times. So Sunday, we're going to kick it off against the Titans. And I think that's going to be just an absolute banger. Now, in closing, and this is important, the NFL, the Bears make a shocking roster move, right? This is an article that came out today where they talk about something that's been shocking. And what was the shock? Well, yesterday, Caleb Williams was named a captain. A rookie was named the captain for the Chicago Bears, or a captain for the Chicago Bears. 2024 NFL season is just around the corner, and the Bears chose DJ Moore along with Caleb Williams, Cole Kmet, Mercedes Lewis, Tremaine Edmonds, TJ Edwards, Jalen Johnson, and Kevin Byard. This is a historic move, becomes the first rookie ever in Bears history to be named a season-long captain. And Matt Eberflus confirms his decision. He emphasized the significance of this leadership role to the young quarterback. And what he said was, just be yourself, be authentic, let it come to you, which he's done so far. He's worked his tail off. He's preparing. He's got great passion into practice and the games. It'll all come to him naturally. Now, there was a question that was asked of DJ Moore and Jalen Johnson, and they said that this was expected. They expected Caleb Williams to be a captain on this team, and they noted that he has impressive leadership skills that they've witnessed, and that this is a positive message being sent to the fans about Caleb Williams' play, right? I mean, when you work, this is DJ Moore saying, I mean, when you come to work every day like he did and go through things that he had to grow through, especially against this defense, and you see the work that he's putting in and day out, you can't do anything but respect that he wants to be, you can't respect that, and that you want him to be a captain for you. So a lot of people getting super excited about what is happening out here. Now, that closes the show. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. Look, I'm going to say it one more time. This team is greater than the sum of its parts at this point. They're playing like a team. They're feeling like a team. And I think that that's what's important. So the question that we answered today, can Austin Booker be the Chicago Bears sack leader? I don't think that he's going to. I think this team is going to be a shocker. I think it's going to be a surprise. There is a possibility. there's a possibility that Austin Booker hits the ground running. And if not, then maybe over the course of couple of as he works his way through and gets more and more and more reps in the season, he's just going to be an impact player, and we're going to see more play. There is a remote possibility, but I think really the sack leader this year is going to be Montez Sweat. There's always that possibility, but I mean, if I'm a betting man, I'm betting on Montez Sweat. But Austin Booker, he's going to be number 2 in sacks on this team at the end of this season. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Thank you so much for tuning in. Remember to bear down, and remember, F you, Green Bay, and we'll talk to you again.